Hi, I'm weather analyst Andrew Fleck, just here for a winter weather outlook around your late Saturday evening. And what we're going to talk about into this evening and early Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon is going to be just a slightly wintry setup here that a storm is going to be forming around the southeast and moving to the northeast. With that, there's going to be a combination of a low and a high fighting, which means there's going to be a boundary of cold and warm layered temps and air mass is fighting, and the big question is, and like I said on my video below, who was going to get the temps and the temps low enough to support not as much as how much, but as much as how prolonged the mix in ice and frozen precip can hang in. And we're going to talk about that mainly on this video discussion, just to send you with a thought through this late evening into your early Sunday commute. And what we have here again is just some wintry precip up here extending down to the Appalachians. And what I do believe is this is going to be your boundary here of frozen precip. I think as this rain here and the orange and green starts to move into this boundary, that's when you're going to start to see some blues, some pinks start to perform over that boundary, and that's symbolizing a mix and snow. So I do think that's going to start to evolve into the equation as we move into late night Saturday into your early Sunday and afternoon, like I said. And speaking of temperatures, I said that was going to be a very, very important factor come into the equation here. And what we're going to talk about is indeed the temperatures, not the temperature, but more of the wet bulb temps. The wet bulb is a good symbolic model factor to be looking at exactly how cold the wet bulb temps are, because wet bulb gives you a good indication of where probably the best frozen, icy, or mixed precip can fall. And as you can see, of course, the colder you are with the wet bulb, the better chances you're going to be seeing of frozen and icy. Closer you are to the brighter, warmer colors, the less of the possibility that's going to be. But up here, I know it says 50, 38. You got to scratch that out. That is actually, I believe, a glitch in the graphics. I believe that's actually performing more in temperature advection than it is actual temperatures, so I would disregard that up there. But looking south, this is the area from this area down and below is where you want to start looking. As we move through, of course, into Sunday afternoon and evening, that's when you're going to start to want to look up here. But as of right now, we're not going to talk too much about that, but as much as this layer below. And what you can see here is, again, like I talked about or highlighted on the map just a little bit ago, this is where your boundary is of seeing precip in the ways of icy, mix, and frozen. And as this precip starts to move in to this boundary, you're going to start to see, like I said, some pinks, some blues, snow, mix, frozen precip. And now the biggest question is, as you start getting closer and closer to the mid-Atlantic, that's when you start to key on where the best looking temperatures are. We basically see here that all temperatures are below freezing. So what we're going to go and look at is now who seems to be in the coldest. And we have one pocket up here across the central to northern half of PA. And that eastern side, you have another pocket around here. Then you have a little pocket spreading north here. So you do have almost like a surfaced ridge among a map here, and between having two troughs. It's quite interesting. We talk about looking at a jet stream and seeing the bigger ridges and the bigger and deeper troughs, but you can really in a map see mini ones. I like to call minis. And you can see in temperatures here you have just a bit of a minier ridge across the south central Pennsylvania area, and then you have two digging cooler temps on either side. So again, it's very interesting. That's how things can actually happen in different aspects. You could see another one pumping north here, another one spreading south. That's temperature. That's of course air masses fighting back and forth with each other. But I always like to go and look at that in the wintry types of storms, because that gives you a good indication where your coldest weather is going to be. So if you have the warmest part of wet bulb and temps extending up that way, either side of that is where you're going to have your coldest air, and of course maybe some colder air around Long Island and up around Massachusetts and Boston too. So go a little more south. This is where temps are still below freezing, like we talked about a little bit to the north, But like I said, anybody in this area, has a good game of seeing some, if not to the start, some icy mix and even frozen precip coming into late tonight into the early part of Sunday into Sunday afternoon, as late as Sunday afternoon. And last but not least, we're going to look at our advisories, and we have our winter storm advisories just around some of these areas here. And as interesting as it is, I talked about just that almost that mini ridge extending up through the south central PA here, and on either side, remember I was talking about that? On either side, you had your colder air mini troughs. So that was interesting to see what the National Weather Service decided to go and look out there. And of course, I believe that this area in here is under a freezing rain advisory because I think you're going to have some warm air pushing or pumping in from the central part of the state, and you're going to have some colder air pumping from the northern half of the central state and southward. So you're going to have a battle in the central parts, but on either side, you're going to have some colder pockets. So up in PA, that's going to be an interesting battle, you bet. But as we go down to West Virginia, the Appalachians around here, that's when it's going to be a given that you're going to have some precip, some, let's sort of say, freezing rain, sleet, snow. Of course, that's due to higher elevations, but it's really going to be interesting. I really think it's going to be a very interesting setup to see what happens. We do, like I said, going to have a storm that's going to extend itself to the northeastward, and it's going to bring up warm air. But the big question is not as how much you're going to get, but of how long you can keep with that frozen, icy mix of precipitation. So I may do an update overnight. We're going to see what this does, but as of now, I just wanted to give you guys a later Saturday night update on what we think might be occurring. So that's about it right now, and we'll talk soon. So stay safe out there for your late Saturday night and into your early Sunday commute. I'm AnalysisWX.com's weather analyst, Andrew Fleck. Have a nice late Saturday into Sunday.